Hi, I'm Tom Gibbons. I'm at the College of St Scholastica in Duluth, Minnesota. I'm just going to give a short overview of our Computer Information Systems program. So let me share my screen so we can get started on that. I don't think I'm going to go in presenter mode so that I'll just leave it like this so we can just see all the slides. Um, First thing I want to just talk about is why you might be wanting to go into computing rather than, let's say, engineering or become a chemist or something like that. And there are some really nice jobs in a lot of STEM fields, and a lot of them are very rewarding out there. But I just want to remind you that there are a lot more computer jobs than there are other STEM jobs. Um, if in northern Minnesota, we have a lot of forests up here. So if you're interested in becoming a biologist, a forester, a conservation scientist, there are going to be more computer jobs in the next 10 years than all of those fields combined. Maybe you want to go into engineering. I know lots of engineers, and it's a great field to go into. But just so you know, there are more computer jobs open in the next 10 years than there are chemical engineers, civil engineers, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, all those fields combined. In fact, all the engineering fields combined, there are going to be more computer jobs than all engineering jobs. Similarly, chemists, physicists, astronomers, environmental scientists, there's more computer jobs than all of those combined. I was a math major. My daughter was a math, and son were both math majors. But just so you know, there are more computer jobs than all mathematic, actuary, statistical jobs combined in the next 10 years. In fact, there are going to be more computer jobs than all the remaining STEM fields combined in the next 10 years, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics for that. So just keep that away, be aware of that. So. As I mentioned, I'm Tom Gibbons. I'm chair of the Computer Information Systems Department at the College of St Scholastica. We're a small liberal arts college in Duluth, Minnesota. We have long winters, wonderful springs and falls, and a short summer here. But wonderful place to live, lots of activities to do in Duluth, Minnesota. Just an overview of our program. So you're probably here because you're in computer science principles, so that is actually our first course. If you haven't had it in high school, we require our freshmen to take it right away. If you have had it in high school, you'll get credit for it. Even if you didn't do college credit for it, we'll generally waive it for you if you've had it or some similar course in high school. We do a computer architecture class where we use these little Raspberry Pis to build little computer systems. Then we start a year of programming, sequence programming 1 and programming 2. We teach both those in Java. And then we have what we call our core requirements, database modeling, where we learn SQL, system analysis and design, where we look at larger computer systems and how they're implemented, and a communication course where we just talk about how to write proper communications, because a lot of computer work is actually not just coding, but writing design documents and things like that. Because we're a CIS program, we're a little more applied than some computer science programs. So, for example, at the end, we have a capstone project. This is where you do a project for a nonprofit. You're set up in teams, so the class doesn't meet like with lectures or anything like that. You work and meet with your nonprofit organization and your team, and you develop a project and finish a project over a semester. We also require all of our students to do an internship. These are generally paid internships, paid quite well, often done during the summer, but can be done during the school year. A fair number of our students work now, especially remotely, during the school year for that. Let me jump into one of these courses. Let's look at this Java 2, this Programming 2 course, and look at some sample assignments from that, just to give you an idea of that. So here's a assignment from the programming course called the Pesky Tourist, where we're working with arrays. Arrays are images. Images are just a set of numbers, basically pixels, between 0 and 255. And so you're learning loops and how to loop through this array. And your job is you're giving 3 different images, and there's a tourist in them at different places. And your job is to find the pixels that are there and remove the tourists. So you compare the 3 pixels and decide which ones are the same and use those. And that will actually remove the tourists from these images for that. Another course example we do is just an art project. Um, this is a modern art project where you're learning recursion. Recursion is techniques where you are having a method or a procedure call itself here and loop back. And so this is an art format where you have a white background, black rectangles, and then color in some of the rectangles. And so it works well with recursion. So we do recursion to generate this sort of art type project. Now, besides this core curriculum, students have to choose a concentration. So you pick where you kind of focus, and it's kind of sets you up for what kind of career you might want to be. So the concentrations are kind of focused on different types of careers. We have a software development concentration, a business analyst concentration. These are the two probably main fields that our students will go into. We do have cybersecurity and health informatics concentration here. And then students can design their own custom concentration if there's something specific they want to go into or work with. Often if students are doing a double major, they'll work that into a custom concentration here. For this. So let's look, I teach a lot of courses in the software development concentration. So let's look at a couple courses in that here. So the first one is in machine learning. So machine learning is a course that's open to all majors here. So it's open to computer majors and other science majors. Everyone can take it, and it fulfills some of our requirements as far as our general ed curriculum at the college. So in this course, let's just jump into the assignment. Here's the actual assignment itself here. And students can choose, we're doing image processing with something called convolutional neural networks, which is a type of deep learning that we discuss. And they can choose one of two things. We often like to give our students some choice in assignments, so they can choose what type of images they want to analyze. They can look at humpback whale identifications or pneumonia identification with x-rays. So you can choose one of these two projects. And these open up in what are called Jupyter Notebooks. Jupyter Notebooks run in the cloud like a Google Doc, and we run Python here. And so this is code and descriptions in the code, and the students run through this code and train a neural network here. They run, so most of the code is written for them, because again, the idea is that we're not teaching them Python in this course. We're really focused on machine learning here. So they look at how to set up different networks. So there are spots where they can choose different networks and how to work with different networks in here and set up modern image processing networks for. So they work and set up different networks. They do training. Some of these things will take, to train these machine learning models might take certainly minutes. At this level, it's getting more complicated. And so it's taking longer. So like this, where this one was stopped, it's taking about 300 seconds per epoch, and we're doing 100 epochs. So often the students will get this running and let it run for a couple hours to train the network. I mentioned this is a open to all students. So one of the things we're looking at is just the scientific method. So students have to make a hypothesis about how to improve their convolutional neural network, and then they test out the hypothesis with this network and then write up the results for that. So that is one example of a course here. Let's look at another one here. So this is our game design course. We use Unity as our game engine and Blender as our 3D modeling software. And we do a lot of game development ones, but this is an example of a project that's in there, but it's not really game design. Well, it's virtual reality. So we have worked with archaeologists in northern Minnesota, and there's an island that they've dug up. I've helped been on this site. And so there's a report where they show the island map and the different sites they've dug and what artifacts they've set up. So then we create a virtual reality representation. We have a couple Oculus Rifts that we work with. So, and students create a virtual reality example of this island where you can go walk around in VR, see the different sites, and see images of that, and then see what artifacts are found at the different sites on this place. So again, it's the whole idea of game design stuff, but it's actually applied to actual archaeology in northern Minnesota for us. So, um, so besides that, how is our core classes run? So we have on-campus course classes and online classes. So you can be an online student or you can come to campus and here we accept a wide range of transfer credits, post-secondary, college into schools, that sort of stuff. AP courses that you have. So a lot of students will transfer courses. So what other things can you be doing that might be fun here? So, besides going to courses and taking courses, of course, we do a number of competitions. I don't know if you're familiar, but there's computer programming competitions. These are a couple of views. This is the Big Digity competition in northern Minnesota, which our students generally participate in. And so you send a team of 3 students and they participate in a day-long programming contest. This one is broken up into different tasks. Some of them are more brain teaser-like questions. Some of them fun kind of game show kind of setups. There's, the normal physical challenge where you're trying to build something real quick. And then there's a, 3-hour programming contest where you're just trying to solve programming questions in a 3-hour limit. Each 3-student team has only one computer that they get to work with and use. And that's a common situation. We do a couple other programming contests like this, and that's a general format of them. We also do fun little just robot challenges. Here's a team just making a simple robot to explore a challenge. So we do some competitions like that. We now do data analytics competitions and compete with those. We often have teams of students who will go to those different competitions. We also have students who do research. Sometimes they'll do summer research. Sometimes this is research done in the classroom here. And so, and we also have students pursuing master's degrees, like we have an applied master's in applied data analytics here. And so these are all undergrad students presenting their research at different venues. Sometimes it's at a regional conference we'll go to, like this this spring it was in Milwaukee, sometimes at different locations, and sometimes it's just on campus where you're just sharing your work on campus with the students, other students on campus here. So again, this is just research, another option. If you don't want to do research, we also just like to travel some, so it's fun to travel. So these are a couple conferences that are out there. This is 2 of the big ones we like to send students are the Grace Hopper Celebration of Women in Computing. That's held every September here, and also the Richard Tapia Celebration of Diversity in Computing. These are large conferences, so we've sent students to Baltimore, California, Florida, yeah, lots of places, Seattle. And again, sometimes like we generally send a group of students and a faculty member. So this is Jen Rosato and a group of students. And this is a group of students I took to Grace Hopper a couple years ago here. So, and it's a fun travel event. So going to conferences, we do have funding. Students usually apply for scholarships and different grants and raise some money so that hopefully it doesn't cost them anything to go to these conferences for this. Just thought I mentioned game design. This is the game design conference held in California, and I've gone to that before, and so that's a fun conference to go to. I haven't had a chance to bring students to that, but I'm looking at possibly doing that in the future. So travel is fun, I think. So again, my name's Tom Gibbons. I teach at St Scholastica in Duluth, Minnesota. This is my email address, tgibbons@css.edu. Feel free to reach out to me, contact me. If you have any questions whenever you're reviewing this recording, just send me an email there. So, okay. So that's going to wrap up this recording. let's stop sharing. There we go. And stop recording. Again, I think they're wonderful programs. Even if you don't do this program, there are great programs out there in computing. So I encourage you to find a good program and get in it and get going. Continue your work in computing. So.